To become the ultimate manager across Europe, Dad and I are beginning our journey in what is known as the Glory Hunter Challenge. This is where we have to win the league and cup of 5 of the biggest countries, as well as the Europa League and Champions League. A quest of winning across the continent against each other, but with a couple of caveats. The first is that we can't become the manager of a club directly after one of us leaves. And the other is that we have to start at a club that has never won the league in their nation before. So Dad has decided to become the manager of RB Leipzig, while I am heading to Italy and starting with Atalanta. So strap in and subscribe if you haven't done so already, because Glory Hunter begins right now and is always a roller coaster ride that you do not want to miss. Kicking things off in Germany, Dad is starting with a 4-2-2-2 formation with the obvious huge threats up front and Simmons in behind. I've gone for a more conservative 3-at-the-back system with Ederson in my midfield, who will look to join the attacks from deep to supply the likes of Skamaka and Ademola Lookman. Dad was already fending off interest for David Ram, but also identified the goalkeeper position as something he needed to improve, so he brought in Diogo Costa from Porto. I was also targeting a Porto player in João Mario, but Juventus beat me to his signature, meaning it was back to the transfer market to find an alternative. And so I went for my second option in Kenny Tete of Fulham, in that right wing-back role on the right-hand side. I also brought in Robert Andrick to cover my defensive midfielder roles for just £15 million. And Dad was doing the exact same thing with Mandragora from Fiorentina. Season preview puts my Atalanta team down in 7th place at 25-1 to win the Serie A this year. Meanwhile, Dad's Leipzig side has a slightly better chance in 4th place at 14-1 to win the Bundesliga. However, I imagine my chances were even worse when on the opening day of the season, I suffered a 2-0 loss to newly promoted Como. Thankfully, in the following fixture, we picked up a 4-0 win against Empoli to hopefully get us back on track. Meanwhile, Dad started unbelievably well in Germany in an emphatic 5-1 victory against Gladbach on the opening day of the Bundesliga, followed by an away 3-1 win against Freiburg with another comfortable victory, but all was not perfect for Dad, as both of his first-team goalkeepers had picked up bad injuries and will miss a significant period at the start of the season. And that could be enough to cost you in a cup or league competition as we race to fill our trophy cabinets against each other. Well, Dad, we're here again with another Glory Hunter series.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's your favourite one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. Now, we decided to start off at a team that hasn't ever won their league title. So, you picked RB Leipzig.
Yeah, there might be a few people who could sort of go against me for this, but hey, that's what I've gone for.
Yeah, I mean, that probably out of all of the leagues that we're in is the obvious pick, I think.
Yeah.
In terms of the best team in their league, never to win it.
Yeah.
They are probably the highest up there. I, of course, have gone for Atalanta. Now, again, quite a good team in the league, but I would say nowhere near the top in terms of you got both Milans, you got Juve, Napoli, all that.
Oh, you got more teams in your league that can beat you, but you've still got a good side, I feel.
Yes, very good. So that's how we are starting things off. I'm in Italy, Dad is in the Bundesliga in Germany, but of course, maybe our paths will cross.
I'm trying to keep you away from me.
And maybe we'll cost each other some trophies. With the ultimate aim, of course, of winning the league in the 5 countries that we have picked, which include England, Germany, Spain, Italy, and Portugal, and as well as the cups with the Champions League and the Europa League, which can be the most difficult one to get. However, I think neither of us are in it this season at the start, but we could drop into it. That's the thing with the Champions League. The first season, we have the old format still going. Now, let's have a look at the Atalanta signings that I've made. Kenny Tete, I went for a right back, didn't quite get him, so I went for Kenny Tete instead. I kind of feel like I might have wasted a bit of money there because they do actually have like 3 okay right backs. And if anything, he just adds to the list of okay right backs. He doesn't become the best one. With Robert Andrick, another £15 million signing, who I needed a bit more depth in that DM role, which is the reason why I signed him. His mental attributes are fantastic.
Yeah, I do like
good tackling ability as well. Also, it makes Leverkusen worse, which might not be a good thing for Dad. Well, might be a good thing for Dad.
Definitely.
Might not be a good thing for me. Tactically, I've decided to go with what they suggest is actually their best shape. I'm not, I don't actually mind a 3 at the back lately as well. And I was quite happy to kind of go along with that. This is the best 11 that you can see on screen right now. Actually, it's changing a little bit, but Ruggeri has got a bit of an injury there, as has Ederson, so I'm missing 2 key players at the start of the season. And it shows in the results. I lost to Como. In the opening game of the season, Dele Alli scored against me there, Fabregas's side, when I travelled to Como. But I also lost the game to Real Madrid in the Super Cup.
That's not a bad result, though.
No.
1-0.
No, that ain't too bad at all. 4-0 against Empoli, though, a team that I should be expecting to win anyway, so I'm not, it doesn't really give me anything. I don't know how well I'm going to be doing. The next month, I then play Roma, Juve, Sporting in the Champions League, Inter, and Milan.
Yeah.
So that's when I'll know whether this is going to work or not.
You could have done with that being the first month, really, couldn't you?
Exactly, yeah. So the Champions League format, obviously, we mentioned is the old one, and I have got quite a difficult group. And I'm all right with that because I fancy myself finishing in 3rd.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. Dortmund, Sporting, and Villa all there. I think
I'll tell you what, I couldn't.
Finishing 3rd be quite good.
I don't think you could pick the first 2 out of that.
No.
Because they're all capable, like you say, they're all capable of coming 1st or 2nd.
That's it, yeah. It's a very difficult group
Yeah,
there.
definitely, yeah.
So I'm kind of happy with that. Hopefully I'll land in 3rd place and maybe get myself a nice little Europa League win. That would be so me in Glory Hunter to do that first season. But let's see, Dad, you've had a little bit of money to play with at Leipzig, and you decided the goalkeeper was the position that you needed to change.
Yeah.
I agree, to be fair, although he has got the curse
Oh,
of,
it always does, doesn't it?
yeah, tearing his wrist ligaments.
When I looked at the team that I was going to play and all that, that just stood out to me that the weakest point was there, and I just thought, right, just go as much money as you need to get this guy in. Obviously, everybody knows me from now on. This is the keeper I'll always go to when I can afford him.
Yeah.
And I could afford him, so I've got him. So I am absolutely happy with this. Now I feel that my defence is, going to get better now with him in the team.
Yeah. Alongside him, Mandragora from Fiorentina for £10 million.
It's just a midfield player, like I always say about the spine of the team. This guy will fit into both of the positions. So I mean, it'll mainly be a DM that I'll use him for because that's the positions I'm playing. But yeah, I'm quite happy to get this guy in with the money that I had left over.
Yeah, which, you mentioned DMs. You're using 2 of them.
Yeah.
Going for a classic 4-2-2, which is very much RB Leipzig as well. We're sticking to the status quo of what these teams are used to playing right now. And I think that's smart in Season 1.
Yeah.
You don't want to sort of chuck things away because it only takes you getting sacked once early on, and you've really screwed yourself in Glory Hunter because you cannot get yourself another job, and you have to start way further down. So yeah, we're kind of just trying to be as smart as what we possibly can and survive.
I mean, I'm looking at it really. It's still, especially the front 4 I got up there. They're quite good. I'm quite happy with that.
Really good.
Cause a few teams a few troubles, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, everybody sort of knows how good Leipzig's team is.
I mean, I've improved the only weakness I feel in the team, and I've improved it with the keeper.
Yeah. Schedule, you started off well as well. Gladbach 5-1, who you always say is your bogey side.
Yeah, my bogey team in that league for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll shove the bits with that.
Yeah. So, good start to the season.
Yeah, I'm not conceding many goals, so
no,
he's doing his job already.
But in the Champions League, you also might drop into the Europa League.
Yeah.
Because you have a group of Real Madrid, AC Milan, and Brest. So you might make a tit of yourself.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as long as I don't make a tit myself, I'll come third. Yeah. And I'll be happy with that.
Exactly. So Real Madrid and Milan are obviously in there, 2 big teams in Europe that could cause you trouble in the Champions League to drop into the Europa League. But that ain't a bad thing when it comes to
I'm not going to go very far in the Champions League, so I'd be happy if they do cause me problems, and I'll drop into the Europa League quite happily.
Yeah, because Europa League becomes a lot more difficult to win once you go into the new format. Because you can no longer drop into it. You have to find a team which is finished that low down in the league to qualify for it. And that is obviously very limited positions compared to the Champions League. So there we go. That's our teams. A little introduction there. And of course, you know the challenge. So let's get season number 1 underway with Glory Hunter and see who starts the best. With the season underway, it was already interesting to see how both of us were struggling in the Champions League. However, Dad benefited much more from this than I did, as he was finishing in 3rd place and qualifying for the Europa League with just 5 points. Whereas I finished in 4th place despite being on the same points as Dortmund in 3rd and a better goal difference, but losing out on head-to-head and being eliminated completely. Dad's Leipzig side, though, was being eliminated from the DFB Pokal in just the 2nd round, thanks thanks to an extra time Gladbach goal. His league form was suffering too as he slips to 10 points behind Bayern Munich in 6th place at the turn of the new year, which means he's really pinning his trophy hopes on the Europa League with Lyon to play next. My Atalanta side though hadn't lost face of a trophy this season as we are doing incredible stuff in the Serie A, with a lot of the thanks going to Ademola Lookman, of course, a former Leipzig player who has 14 goals in 17 league games this season, helping us top the league table at the halfway point, 1 point ahead of Milan in 2nd place with a very close chasing back. But just when things were going well, Manchester City came through and activated Ademola Lookman's release clause to snatch him away in the middle of the January window. Not only do we have Milan chasing us in the league as well, but we have them in the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia, where we were eliminated thanks to a penalty shootout after AC Milan equalised in the 121st minute of extra time. Dad's Leipzig side cruised past Lyon in the Europa League and then faced Ajax in the round of 16, defeating them 5-2 on aggregate. Another confident victory against Bilbao in the quarterfinals, and Dad books himself a semi-final clash against fellow German side Dortmund. His league form, albeit had some bad results, had improved, and RB Leipzig were sitting in a much more respectable position. The loss of Lookman didn't seem as bad as what I thought though, because Skamaka was still scoring and Retegui stepped in with the goals too. And with a huge win against AC Milan and great results elsewhere in the league, our consistency has pulled us away from the others where we were on the brink of lifting the Scudetto. With the league just out of reach for Dad though, he really poured his eggs into the Europa League basket with a massive 3-0 first leg win in the semi-final, a 2-2 draw in the second leg, and that was enough to breeze through into the Europa League Cup final, where if he can defeat Spurs, he lifts one of the hardest trophies to obtain in the Glory Hunter Challenge. Another 3 goals from Retegui, and we are celebrating as with games to spare, my Atalanta side has won the first trophy and we are crowned champions of the Serie A. Dad was hoping I wouldn't be the only one celebrating a trophy as he took on Spurs in the Europa League final that had end-to-end actions in both halves and required an 85th minute Leipzig equaliser to take the game to extra time. However, the Premier League side just had too much for Dad's defence and they couldn't prevent extra time goals from Heung-min Son or Pedro Paulo to stop Spurs from lifting a European trophy. It just had to be Spurs.
Why them? Why them? They take me to extra time as well.
Oh,
and my mate Heung-min Son is done the.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
extra
believe
time
it.
goal from Heung-min Son.
Yeah.
It looked like you put yourself back in contention because you went 3-2 up at one point.
Yeah.
Richarlison equalised.
That's the one thing I can't believe.
Well, and actually Richarlison put them 3-2 up, and then Nopton actually scored the equaliser to take it into extra time. But Tottenham Hotspur has prevented you from winning the Europa League. The hardest one to win, I think.
That'd have been so
Glory
good
Hunter.
the first season to get that out of the way.
I'd have been really worried. I would have been really worried. I would have. But
it had to be Spurs.
It was
all
Spurs.
the teams and all the leagues that could stop me. It had to be Spurs.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, as we mentioned, the Champions League group, I fell fourth. Like Dortmund finished in 3rd place. I obviously finished in the bottom. I've gone to the group stage there, which meant I didn't even get into the Europa League or the Champions League. I was just out of the competition completely.
Yeah.
You defeated Lyon in the knockout playoff round to keep it going. We've seen a big win against Ajax there, the quarter-final win against Bilbao, and you think the run is there, knocking out Dortmund in the semi-final as well.
That's a good result.
Yeah, and then you see Tottenham beat Liverpool, and you think, God, it was written in the stars for you to pinch a cheeky win.
They couldn't be Spursy then, could they?
No. Exactly. And unfortunately, Dad, we mentioned your bogey team. They knocked you out of the DFB Pokal, so there was no DFB Pokal, and you were some way off in terms of the Bundesliga. Dortmund and Bayern both finished on 72 points, but Bayern's far superior goal difference of 59 there, or 53, sorry, with Harry Kane scoring 33.
I mean, the only thing I'm looking at that league now, and I'm looking at it and thinking, Dortmund lost 6 games.
No, you didn't. Bayern
lost 6 games,
yeah.
and Dortmund lost 4. So usually in these leagues, they're only losing like 1 or 2 games, maybe 3 games tops.
Yeah.
For Bayern to be losing 6 games.
Yeah, that's a low points tally for Bayern, 72.
Yeah. So it's a bit disappointing, really, that I wasn't a bit closer.
Yeah.
Because that's when you got to quickly get in there and do something.
Yeah.
When they are losing games like that, so I'm a bit disappointed, really. Well, I'm really disappointed with Spurs beating in the final. For first season, I would look at that and think, I'm happy with that because I've done well. I've got 3rd position. nowhere near in the cup, and then to find out I lose to Spurs, I mean, really, in that cup as well, the Europa League.
Openda did well, 26 goals. That wasn't bad. You were actually quite lucky because at one point you were down in 6th.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason why you were keeping your job was because of that Europa League run.
100%.
And it wasn't until like a late surge in the league where you managed to just get above and finish in 3rd. Which I think it's like bare minimum for Leipzig.
Yeah.
I've seen people be sacked for finishing in 3rd place before.
Well, they are a team on the up, and they've got the money there, they've got the support there, so they want to win this league, don't they?
Yeah.
They want to be successful in the next few years, really. So yeah, like I said, I think I was lucky there.
Yeah,
it was one thing keeping my job there, getting to that final.
Speaking of winning the league, though, we head to Italy. I don't know how I done it, but I walked the league.
God,
12
absolutely.
points,
and you lost 6 games as well.
12 points above Lazio. And Lazio were in 2nd, by the way. Inter down in 6th. Unbelievable, really. I've never seen the drop-off of Inter. I mean, they've already changed their manager, which, of course, we missed out on there. But at the same time, he's only been in charge for 20 days. It's not really a job that we would be going for in the first season. Would be a little bit, let's move straight away.
No.
I was never moving because I was already on course to win the league. 88 points. I was sailing past when the Inter Milan job came up.
Clean sheets, done you let your keepers at top?
Yeah.
19 clean sheets in the league.
19 clean sheets. And if we're looking at statistics, I had the fewest conceded in the league, 29, most clean sheets, and I was still 2nd in terms of most goals, which is obviously a great combination.
100%. That's what wins the leagues.
Yeah. So I'm buzzing with that. I'm really happy. In terms of the other competitions, quarter-final of Coppa Italia, I'm just disappointed it was on penalties.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get battered. Because then it's like, I mean, Milan did go on to win it. Fair play to them. They beat Juve in the final. So if I did knock out Milan, I would have had to have faced Juve anyway in the final, which you just never know how that's going to go.
No.
And in the Champions League, as we mentioned, I didn't even get out of the group. The final is actually being played still between Barcelona and Arsenal. That's still to be played.
Come on, Barcelona. Come on, Barcelona.
But let's look at the transfer budget then. So I'm going to stay in Italy because I've still got to win the Coppa Italia. £33 million. It's not too bad. I mean, if we're looking at my team as well, goals wise, 26 from Scamacca, 17 from Di Catalere, 13 for Retegui. I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed to lose Adamola Lookman in the January window there. He moved for 29 million because he was on course of being my top scorer. 14 goals in 17 games. Massive. So I've got to replace him.
Yeah.
But I haven't really necessarily been given the money to do so. But that's absolutely fine. We'll get that sorted throughout this summer. We'll replace him quite nicely. But Dad, let's look at your side because goals-wise, it looks like you've got that covered. Your strike force is strong. Openda, Sesko.
Yeah,
Baumgartner's even come in with 20.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Xavi Simons has got 17 goals with 18 assists.
That's brilliant, yeah.
Huge amount of goals.
Yeah, so like I said, the top 4 I was quite happy with, really. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So, maybe just sort of tinker again with the defence a little bit more. And maybe the DM.
Yeah, all right. Well, you got £65 million to spend. So you think you're going to stick with this system or change it around?
All depends who comes available.
All right.
I'm not going to deviate too far away from that.
Yeah.
You know, we'll always be jumping in with like 3 up front and things like that. Not at the moment.
Okay, well, let's have a look then and see how interesting this summer window is going to be as we go into season number 2 of Glory Hunter. But we've already got out a trophy to it. That's right, and it's my cabinet we open first as we place the Serie A trophy inside thanks to this incredible Atalanta season. Straight away then, with the cup in mind, I need to make this whole squad better, and I signed Kasunu, who was on loan last season. Before Dad did anything, he was requesting for more transfer revenue percentage, which was granted. And we got the Kasunu deal done for the £15 million buy clause. Dad lost out on his first target of the season, Kanate, as he opted to go to Chelsea instead, while considering who will work as he looks to switch up his system. He decided to go big on snapping up a Leverkusen defender in Tapsoba for £50 million, and the 25-year-old can really add a lot to Dad's defence as a ball-playing centre-back. I received a bid for Ederson, who was vital for my success last season, but I knew if I negotiated a better price, I would be happy to let him leave, and Arsenal accepted the counter-offer. Eventually, with him going, that really pumped my transfer budget up, and I now have £91 million for a replacement as well as a striker. Speaking of strikers, Dad brought a favourite to his club as Esposito joined his Leipzig side. But with a striker in mind for myself, I had just enough to bring in Kamara from Villa, who was a more defensive-minded midfielder. And I spent £36 million up front and a possible total of £66 million on Matheus Cunha from Wolves, who had been relegated, a player that can slot in behind the striker or as a natural centre-forward with Scamacca this season. With Dan's budget spent, he finally settled on a system, and the season preview just before all the things kicked off this season seen Leipzig sat in second behind Bayern. I was happy with the system that won me the league last year, so I decided not to change anything, and my 2 new signings are in the squad, but we are still being underestimated down in 5th place. But we are picking up a win in the opening fixture thanks to a really good Cunha assist. Dan was also really happy though with his start to the season, as he won all 4 of his opening fixtures. Well, Dan, it's been a good start to the season for you.
Really pleased with that.
3 wins from 3.
Yeah.
Also through to the DFB Pokal second round.
Always glad to get that one out of the way, but you should.
Got Leverkusen though.
Yeah, that's the big problem there, isn't it? Yeah, and away as well. So
yeah.
I could be knocked out so early and I'd be so disappointed already.
Exactly. But the transfer window that you have was actually rather quiet one, I thought, compared to what you're normally like.
Yeah.
Tapsoba coming in for £50 million.
So I made him a little bit weaker.
Yeah. Buying one of their best defenders.
Well, I said I'd have to sort of strengthen my defence, and that's the guy that I was doing it. So I spent most of my money on him.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit left over, so I thought I'd get a young striker in, and we all know that I do like him.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done. I've just got him. I know he won't get in my first team. They're too good for that, but if I get any injuries, he's the guy that could be just doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
19 years old. He's a lot of potential still to
I was
play.
surprised I got him out. I was surprised Inter let him go, because other games that I've gone through that I've tried to get hold of him, they don't release him. So I was quite surprised, really.
Well, tactically, you have switched it. Not by much, just a player coming down from here, down to that left-hand side.
I just wanted to move someone and just make it a little bit more, I'm going to say attacking, but I didn't attack, but I wanted to be giving the forwards more.
Yeah.
So I've put him out on the wing, this guy. And
a supplier.
A supplier. That's what I'm looking for, yeah. So I'm looking for more suppliers, and that's the guy I got it. And in the, I'm sort of like strengthening all the balls down to the left-hand side as well. And I wanted to lock this young guy in the...
Seevald.
Yeah, I wanted to lock him in. I felt that he just... Like you always say to me, he needs a bit of playtime, so I'm going to give him some.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lock him in. Hopefully it works for me, because he can be a really good player.
Yeah, absolutely. Good start to the season. I think smart move, to be honest. Tapsoba comes in and actually improves the team, so he comes straight into that. And when you're only given £60 million, you don't really want to sell anybody.
No.
It's just a case of, all right, just get one person in.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's have a look. Atalanta, league champions, by the way. I've also weakened by Leverkusen's defence.
Do me a favour for the cup game,
£15 million. Yeah, Casuno. I couldn't turn that down. £15 million. I think that's really good, because he could also cover on that right-hand side for me, should I need to. And I'm playing free at the back, so I need a majority of centre-backs, of course. But the big summer selling was Ederson. The decision to sell Ederson, I in the nam whether it was a good idea or not. I felt like I could do it because bringing in Kamara for roughly the same price, 2 very different types of player, but I think he gives me more solidity in the midfield than Ederson, who's more attacking. And then Cunha comes in as the replacement for Lookman, who I think is a better player, and can also play there too. And that gives me more options in general. And if we're looking at my team now, Cunha goes into the centre forward on attack role, but if he needs to drop in there, he's a natural there. He's very good there. He can still supply Scamacca. We've got Retegui, who can come in and be a very good striker off the bench or whatever we kind of need. We've also got Bilal Touré, who can also do the same. And I've actually started the season well. So last season I had a bad start, or I only lost 1-1. This season I've actually beaten Como. I have drawn to Bologna away from home, but hey, I was 2-0 down, so to bring it back to 2-1, I'm actually all right with. And a 3-1 against Monza. Again, I haven't played anybody good.
Nope.
Of course, we are both just in the Champions League now, so I can't get out of the Champions League. I'm in it. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
You can't drop into anything else. We're also playing each other in that Champions League phase. So on that final day, but I think both by then we should be secure in terms of at least a playoff. Maybe we're fighting for the top 8.
Yeah.
Which would be quite nice to do, because your Champions League fixtures are well. I think yours is slightly easier than mine. You've got Bayern to begin with and Man City, but Atalanta there at the end. I
Yeah,
think yours is
I
slightly
think you're right
easier
there. I
than
think
mine.
we both should qualify. Whether it's
Yeah.
in the top 8, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to be winning the Champions League this season, though.
No.
In season number 2. I think it might be a bit of a stretch, but we're both going for cups.
Yeah.
And you're going for the league as well. So let's
Yeah,
make
I'm a
this
little
an
bit behind now.
interesting one. Do we finish season 2 with any silverware? It wasn't long before Dad was coming up against Bayern, but still couldn't prevent a loss, as well as taking a heavy loss to Borussia Dortmund in the league as well. But one game Leipzig did manage to win was when we crossed paths in the Champions League, in the final match of the league phase for us both, as Dad's side stomped my Atalanta team 3-0. And that actually cost me from qualifying in the top 8 as we both slip into the playoff match. In Italy, however, we are still flying and surprising everyone with how good we really are. Sitting top of the league by 4 points, but it's the cup we are really concerned with this season, and it's AC Milan again in the quarterfinals. Dad was facing a similar task as he drew Dortmund in the quarters of the DFB Pokal. But in Dortmund, they stepped up and Openda bagged a brace, including the winner in a 3-2 win to the semi-finals. And I was shocking Milan 4-0 as we absolutely battered them to go through to the semi-finals against Inter Milan, which of course in Italy is across 2 legs, and in the first leg it finished 1-1. I fell at the round of 16 in the Champions League while Dad was beating Barcelona, booking a ticket against PSG in the quarterfinals. And his Leipzig team isn't out of the title race yet either, going into April, sat just 2 points behind leaders Bayern. And his semi-final was a simple 1-0 win away to Heidenheim. With all the other big teams eliminated, Dad is the favourite to beat Wolfsburg in the final and possibly lift a trophy. In my semi-final at the San Siro, I found myself staring down the barrel of defeat, 2-1 behind in the second leg at half-time. But we pulled ourselves back into the game and level with a cracking cross and back post header from Scamacca on the 80th minute. But there was still time for a winner as Matheus Cunha smashed in a third for us to reach the Coppa Italia final. Unfortunately for Dad, the treble was off as PSG defeated him in the Champions League. However, the double was still very much on as he's now level on points with Bayern Munich. And it was Juventus who were trying to stop me from completing Italy as we faced them in the Coppa Italia final. They couldn't stop us, however, from retaining our league title as we go back-to-back winning the Scudetto. The Leipzig title race took a big hit though in May as they lost to Leverkusen at home, and that opened up a gap for Bayern. And a draw at Union Berlin unfortunately sealed Dad's fate in second place as Bayern Munich now lift the Bundesliga title. But it's cup final time and my Atalanta side start the game so well, scoring within 5 minutes, and they sealed the Coppa Italia trophy for me, thus completing Italy with a 75th minute second goal. Leaving me with nothing left to win in Italy, and I already have my eye on a next job as a vacancy has just popped up. Before that though, this is Dad's turn to try and win some silverware. However, within the first minute, he finds his Leipzig side a goal down. And it stayed that way until midway through the second half, when eventually Lois Openda smashed in an equaliser. Another nearly 20 minutes passed with the score still level until that man Openda found the net yet again to give Dad's side the lead. From then on though, it was comfortable as a minute later Xavi Simons gave them a 2-goal lead. And finally, in the 87th minute, Lois Openda is bagging his hat-trick and securing Dad the DFB Pokal for his trophy cabinet. Well, Dad, you had your first trophy to your Glory Hunter cabinet.
I needed that one.
The DFB Pokal.
Done it the hard way as well. 1-0 down after the first minute.
Yeah. Wolfsburg in the final, which is kind of nice, but of course you had to get past that Leverkusen game early. And it was on penalties. It was a tight one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Getting past Dresden in extra time. You do not like doing this easy.
No.
Dortmund in the next round of the quarterfinal. At that point, thankfully, you were then the favourites because then you're all really dealing with is Kaiserslautern, Heidenheim, Wolfsburg.
I mean, you look
was
at the
other team
semi-final,
there.
I'd be disappointed if I didn't win from there.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm pleased with that. Got there, done the business. Trophy in the bag, and I always think the cups are always the hardest ones.
They definitely are. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pleased
because
with
of
that.
the way we're playing this with the simulation side of it. Yeah, absolutely. Are you finished 5 points behind Bayern Munich?
Yeah,
which is disappointing.
It's disappointing in one way, but not in another way. I've got closer to them.
Yeah.
I only lost 5 games. They lost 6.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
drawing the games is what lost me, really.
Yeah.
And I think I had a bit of a bad end of season, which could have possibly cost me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, in terms of the league, you had there was
the 2
a loss
games
to Bayern Munich, and then you lost to
one and
Leverkusen and
drew
to Berlin.
I got 1 point out of 6 there. And what did I finish behind them?
5 points.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So those 2 games cost me the league.
Yeah.
So I've got to be happy with that. Getting the cup in the bag, I'm a little bit more closer to them as well. It's just I could have done with the league to just get out of the way, sort of. But I'm here for another season.
Yeah.
So,
Staying with Leipzig because jobs are starting to appear.
Yeah.
Of course, and we are ready to go.
I think my team's almost ready. So
all right. Almost league title worthy.
Yeah, I'll be silly to move.
Oh, you got the pressure on Bayern. Unless the Bayern job comes up, I think you'd be silly to move.
Yeah, I mean, quarterfinal of the Champions League.
PSG.
So that goes to show it's a bit of an improvement in the team all the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, quarterfinal. Got to be happy with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because of course I have now completed Italy with a lovely little 2-0 cup win over Juve in the final, and I think my run was almost just as hard as yours. I mean, Inter in the semi-final, quarter-final AC Milan, and I battered them 4-0 as well. Like, this is a really good run. Modena in the third round, but from quarters onwards, it was a tricky cup tie all the way. So to lift it, I'm buzzing with.
You're bound to be get Italy out of the way the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Job done. See you later.
Yeah. Back-to-back league wins as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I did only just do it that one fluke season. Back-to-back league wins plus the cup, domestic double. All is great for the reputation because now that I need to move, I need to have a good reputation
CV.
or a good performance, a good CV for clubs to go, yeah, you are probably the right guy for us to take over our club. Round of 16 by Manchester City. That was when you were actually eliminating Barcelona. So a nice little win there for you.
7-3 on aggregate.
Yeah, cool. So it was a great win. I got absolutely
hammered.
stomped, and after being 1-0 up in the first leg too against Manchester City. But that's absolutely fine. Champions League for me is something that I can get to.
Yeah.
Because when the big clubs really come up, that's when you go, this is the season where I need to start targeting the Champions League. When you're at the Manchester Cities or the Real Madrids, Barcelonas. Right now, I'm not in that position. I'm just happy that I've ticked off what I actually think is the hardest combination, Italy.
Oh, 100%.
I really do.
I really don't play well in Italy, so
I'm
not looking forward to going there.
When I first decided to be Atalanta, I thought, yeah, that's a good team. Then I thought, I've really shot myself in the foot here because Italy's probably the hardest combination to win.
Yeah.
Coppa Italia and Serie A because of how many good teams there are. But I've got the job done early. And that means I can resign as Atalanta manager. But then you might be thinking, well, what if there's no jobs? There is one. There is a job available for me right now that I think would be a great move to go to. And I'll be joining Dad in Germany. Because Borussia Dortmund and Eintracht Frankfurt, but Borussia Dortmund moreover, is available.
Oh, they've got such a good side as well.
They've barely lost any players. So the last 2 seasons that we have played, they haven't lost any of their first team. Last season, same points as Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
This season down in 6th. And oh, look, they've qualified for Europa League as well. So that, you can bet your bottom dollar, I'll be applying for the Borussia Dortmund
You
job.
fell in something and come out smelling of roses, haven't you?
Oh yes, but I had to get the hard work done because I added another trophy to my Glory Hunter cabinet. Let's add them to both of our cabinets, in fact, and see how our progress is going. Yes, with the intrigue of the Dortmund job on the horizon, it's time to check off Italy with a Coppa Italia win. Meanwhile, very close to both, but at least Dad gets to cross off one of Germany's trophies this season, as the DFB Pokal is added to his Glory Hunter cabinet. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the next episode as it drops, but it will be on screen when it does.